understand that there's people with harder situations, you know, like death in the family or divorce and they lose everything, you know, like there's so many stories, but I think like I'm just grateful for what I have, and I'm grateful that, you know, as I got older, and maybe you're not asking me to tell you this, but I think it's important for me to tell you this. I thought, because I got lucky that I found this at 19. Right. And I wasn't mature enough to really maximize the opportunity at 19. I wish I was more mature back then. And I thought I was mature. And that's the problem, that when you're young, you think you know everything. Right. And even now, older, now I've realized, like, dude, I don't know anything. You know, I'm still learning. Like, I need to get as much info fast and use it now, because I'm gonna look back 3 years down the line and be like, dude, you were so stupid at 32. Like, if you were just listen, you know, like, so I think forward, how would that person see me today? Right? If I want to be that person, how do I act now? How does that person act today? Right? What do they do? How do they think? Who are the friends? What, you know, how do they wake up in the morning? But like being 19 in the industry, it was a blessing and a curse. A blessing because, one, I was young, so it gave me time to kind of develop, and gave me more time in the game to kind of like try to become more successful sooner. But it was a curse at the same time, because no one really listened to you when you're 19 years old, right? Like, no one really wants to talk to you about money, and because you're 19, what do you know? You don't know, you don't understand what it's like to have a house or pay bills or have kids or whatever, right? But the blessing side is that I found what I was passionate about at 19. And I thought, and this is a problem that a lot of kids have today. I mean, I was literally talking to my kid about this yesterday. We went to Texas Roadhouse. She's about to turn 16. And I was like, yo, like, what do you want to do? You know, what are you passionate about? I want you to do something that you're passionate about. And this is where my wife and I kind of disagree a little bit, because my wife, she doesn't do what I do. She's supportive, but she doesn't do what I do, and she's more structured, and she wants like more security. I don't need security, bro. I am my own security. Right. I got my own back. I don't need nobody to have my back, right? Like, they're gonna let you down at some point. You got to figure out how to do you. So my wife has a really good career, and she's telling my kid, you know, you don't have to love what you do. You just have to like it enough and enjoy it. I was like, and by the way, my wife has a master's degree. She's like, she had her master's degree by the time she was 26, after taking 2 years of school, after she got her bachelor's. And she took a year off school because obviously tuition was too expensive. So technically she took 3 years off, and she still had her master's by the time she was 26. So she really would have had it by like 23, 24, if she went straight. And she started making six figures by the time she was in her mid 20s. She reached like what her goals, what she thought she'd reach at 40, she reached at like 27. And she really enjoys what she does. It allows her to be a mother. It allows her to be a supportive spouse. It gives her a role that she truly enjoys, but she's not excited about. And that's one of the things that she told my kids. She's like, no one's really going to be super excited about going to a job. And that's where I agreed. I'm like, you're right. I was like, but I've been feeling excited about what I've been doing since I was 19, with money and without money. I feel the same because I've been on a mission.
Yeah.
And I realized that as I've gotten older, and that's something I'm trying to be a good example at, because if I tell my wife, you don't know what you're saying, then it's like I'm lecturing, and people don't want to hear that. So instead, I've decided, and I've been doing my best to lead by example, to show what it's like to really believe and go after what your dreams are, and let that speak for me. And over the years, I've seen her change, where now even she challenges me when I put small goals. She's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you could do more. Like, you're so good. Like, why are you belittling yourself? You understand? So I need her, because sometimes she grounds me. But going back to like the fulfillment part, like my kid, I'm like, listen, I want you to be fulfilled. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry. I want you to find a career that you love. And I know she's at some point going to do what I do, but I can't tell her to do it. It has to come from her, right?
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, bro, I've met a lot of people that are like in their 50s, 60s. They make really good money, but they're not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so one of my goals and my dreams is that every person that I work with truly is fulfilled doing what they want to do, right? When you're pursuing your dreams, not a career, how can you not get excited to wake up every morning? How can you not get excited to get better at what you're supposed to get better at? Because you'll know you're a step closer to your dreams. You know, and I thought that people figure that out by the time they're 20. And I'm over here 19 talking about dreams. And you know what people were trying to do? They were trying to tell me to be realistic.
Wow.
They were trying to literally, like, I had this fuel and this fire in me, bro. And they were trying to throw water on me. They were trying to hold me down, you know? And I'm like, I just got to keep adding to the, that actually fueled me. It was like they thought they were tossing water out on me, but they were tossing oil, bro. And I just kept fuming and fuming. And it's the same thing now. A lot of people think that you'll get to a point in your life where you'll become successful and people will accept you. And if you're looking for people's acceptance, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's never really gonna happen. Like, if you're looking for people's validation, it's gonna be hard. You might never really be happy. You won't be happy with yourself. That's why I went back to the selfish thing, right? Like, I realized that at the end of the day, no one really cares about me. They were like Gary Vee. I don't know if you follow Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Gary Vee just 2 days ago, he said, you know, Prince died. He made a huge collaboration to like culture. And a week later, and he wasn't trying to be rude, but he said about a week later, you know, we mourned and then we kind of kept it moving, right?
Right.
So I've seen that in my own family. I've seen, you know, family members die, and I was there, you know, when they unplugged them. And dude, that was like 3 cousins that claimed to love you. You know what I mean? Like the family wasn't there, and it's just like I guarantee you that. And maybe this is me being cynical or whatever. And I know my family cares for me, but I don't really know. Like, I'm sure my mom will be there if I die. I'm sure my wife will be there. I'm sure my kids will be there. But anything beyond that, I don't really know if they're going to come to my funeral. So what is my selfish thing? It's like, I want to impact people so much that they feel compelled to show up to my funeral. Because, you know, and the only way I can do that is going back to what Gary Vee says, give more than what you receive. If you give more without expecting anything, people feel indebted to you. And so that, you know, going back to the goal stuff, like, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I do crazy things that fulfill me, because at the end of the day, it's like, if you're trying to become a legend or own a legacy or whatever, the only way you can continue to live on is if other people are so amazed with your story that they continue to tell your story.
That's right.
And usually the people that are the closest to you will be the ones who continue to tell that story. So if I can impact my kids drastically enough for them to tell their kids, and their kids tell their kids, and their kids tell their kids, that's how I hope my legacy will live on. Because, you know, at the end of the day, bro, I'm just a guy that's trying to help, but I'm trying to help because I'm trying to help myself too. Like, I'm trying to create that legacy for myself. And I think that really also comes from like insecurity, going back to being truthful. Like, understanding who I am as a person has allowed me to be truthful enough to chase after the dreams that I think will ultimately fulfill me and complete insecurities and lack of belief and all these traumas that you've had as a kid. Most people think, oh, I just need a Ferrari, or I just want the money, or I just want the wife. And they think that's what's going to fulfill them. Yeah. But when they realize that what kind of work they have to do is like, they just give up. And so throughout the years, I met people that just are dream dead. Like, you start talking to them about dreams or goals or desires or what really moves you. Why do you do what you do? They don't even want to talk about it, bro. They're like, oh, just be realistic. Oh, that's not real. Like, oh, dreams. Like, I've gotten to the point in life where I'm not scared to tell people what my dreams are, because I don't expect them to understand where I'm coming from. Before, I wanted validation. I wanted them to be like, oh, that sounds good. You're great. And sometimes people would say that, and sometimes that messes you up, because then you feel like you've made it. If someone validates your goal after you've said it, you're like, yeah, you could do it. oh, that's what I wanted. So I don't have to do the work anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like someone learning something and just in their mind, they imagine that they've done it, but they haven't actually taken action to put it into motion, you know? So
Yeah,
it's
because you
just an
get the same
illusion that
feeling.
you created.
That's right. You get the same feeling. So, you know, when I decided to focus on what I really wanted and why I wanted it, and being honest with myself, whether the motivation was to be inspired, or you do it out of spite for someone, or you do it out of desperation, you have to be honest. I don't do what I do. Like, legacy sounds cool, but I don't do it, the legacy, because I'm inspired to have a legacy. I do it because of desperation, where I'm scared that my legacy won't continue.
Mm.
Do you understand? So I do it out of
Yeah,
fear,
man.
but I'm honest with myself.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with facing the fear, and that hero's journey of, by the time I'm dead, like when I catch my last breath, I want to be able to say, yeah, I gave it everything I had.
Yeah.
And I could die peacefully and fulfilled, because it wasn't even about the end goal. It was about the journey of defeating that internal issue that you have with yourself.
There's nothing
It just
left
so
on the table.
happened, yeah, it just so happened that I found the perfect vehicle and the perfect business for me to go after that hero's journey. And it all kind of impact, even me doing this podcast. Like, I'm not gonna make any money off this, you know, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to make you feel indebted to me by giving you as much as you want, so you come to my funeral.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And unless I
Absolutely.
give you something so massive where I actually impact your life, not just words, but physically, monetary, or somewhere else, where it's like a little droplet of water, and it creates a ripple effect in your legacy, you won't feel compelled to come.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Anyway, bro, I know
No,
that's
man,
probably a
hey,
long explanation, but
bro, no, this is this. I love this. You know, normally as we start to kind of tie up, you know, the conversation, I like to ask about, you know, like what's your motivation and things of that nature. But you know, at this point, you know, but I feel like, I mean, I can hear, you know, your motivation. I can hear the mission. I can hear the passion. I can hear the pursuit and journey and road that you're on to really build something that outlives you, right? What I do want to know as we turn the corner, what is the personal process that you've done to get you to that perspective? Is it reading? Is it writing? What have you done to kind of establish the mindset that you have now?
in the beginning, it was a lot of reading. You know, we were on a call earlier today, and they mentioned the book Think and Grow Rich, and
Yep.
that was probably the first self-development book I ever read. But I wasn't ready for that book. Like, it sounded cool. It opened my mind enough to understand that someone normal could become rich and wealthy. But at that moment, I don't think I really believed that I could make it. It sounded cool, but I didn't really think I could believe it. I felt like I needed the skill set. So keep in mind, I joined the industry at 19, but I didn't find a mentor until 28.
Mm.
So the only way I could find mentorship was through books. And so I would read a lot of books. And the second book that I read that truly impacted my life was Unleashing the Power Within by Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've read that book
Yep.
before. And the only reason I love that book is because, you know, I'm a big conspiracy theorist, and like, you know, all that stuff that we won't go into. And so I feel that, you know, at that point in my life, Tony Robbins had found a real way to master your mind, right? Like to master, like there was a trick or sorcery or alchemy or something that you did that was like magic, right? At least that's how the book painted it, and I believed it. And so one of the things that it talked about was incantations and hooks. Hooks. I don't know if you know what a hook is, but have you ever walked into like your grandparents' house or your mom's house, and maybe they're cooking like a pie or a special food or something? You walk in, you catch a whiff, or you're just walking down somewhere and you catch a whiff of something, and it boom takes you back to a memory. Has that ever happened to you?
Right. Yes.
Okay, that's what they call like a hook. Like you hooked a memory, a feeling to that one unique thing.
Absolutely.
So what I was trying to do is, you know, and I talked about it today, I was trying to, you know, I've had points in my life before the business where I felt like I was unstoppable. When I used to skate, you know, skateboarding, and I got the kickflip, and I felt like I could do it on command, you know, like I'm the best. Or basketball, when I learned how to cross over and break some ankles, and I'm like, oh, I could destroy anybody. I don't care how talented you are, you know? Like, it's like that moment where you feel invincible. I joined the industry, and then I'm like, yeah, but no one's listening. How do I bring up that self-confidence? How do I, because competence breeds confidence. And so I read that book, and it talked about hooks, and I really didn't really understand it. I understood it logically, but not really. I didn't really understand. I didn't really understand it, how to create a hook. And so when you talk about, you know, what got me to where I'm at now, is I knew that I had to breed that confidence through competence. And so I didn't understand that book, but then I started reading supporting books that would bring up the confidence around in my personal development, that when I went back to the book or the program, I could understand it better and be more prepared to make it work. And so to make Tony Robbins' book work. And it did. After like 2-3 years of me reading other books, like The Magic of Thinking Big, and for the 48 Laws of Power, I think that's what they're called, by
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. And I started reading all these other books, right? Then I went back to the Unlocking the Secrets Within, and or Unleashing the Power Within. I forgot what it's called. I started understanding what hooks were, and so I started really focusing on emotion. Like, and keep in mind, I'm following Tony Robbins' book, so I'm just doing what it sounds like magic. Now it just sounds like personal development, like breeding confidence, like getting ready to go after harder things and developing skill sets. And so what I started doing that really worked for me were incantations. And incantations where no one believed in me, bro. Like, no one believed in what I could do. My parents told me to go back to school, get a job. My girl was trying to leave me because I couldn't even afford movie tickets or gas or to take her out on a date. Like, she was paying for everything. She was like, basically, I was like a man child. And I'm trying to like pursue this career, and she's like already like graduating like college, like she's already like doing good, you know, and I'm still here broke as hell trying to figure out how to do it without a mentor. So I have to go to books. And so whenever I would figure out how to get a meeting, and I finally got someone who wanted to meet with me, I remember saying these incantations to myself in the mirror, unfortunately, while I was driving, right before the meeting, to pump myself up. I would tell myself, you're the best, you're gonna kill it, you got this already close, like they're lucky to have you, you know. So I had to be my own hype man. Now naturally I do that without the hype, because the competence is already there. So the confidence is rock solid because I know who I am, right? I know what I do. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know how I've helped people because I've done it over and over and over, that there's no even doubt in my mind that I can do the things that I'm already doing now. So when I walk into a meeting or I walk into our client's house, I really feel like the roles have switched. Like, they need me, I don't need them. There's 300 million of them, there's only one of me, right? So, but that was through incantations, that was through reading. Now that got me far enough to continue to push forward, even when everything was going bad. Even when I only had $14 in my bank account, and my engine was blown, and I had to drive 30 miles one way to go to one client's house and not know if I was going to be able to make it back on the gas, and thinking who's going to give me a ride. Like thinking like that, right? Like putting it all in the field, and then crying, bro, by myself because no one believed in me. Like, I was like going to this meeting and literally like tears, bro, down my eyes. I don't have a mentor, daddy issues. You know, my dad's gone. My mom's trying to figure it out. My girl don't believe in me. You know,
I feel you, man. I feel you 100%. Yes.